Okie dokie. Okay. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Jackie Jang and I'm with Griffin Lane and Aaron Smith and we are starting a podcast called Anime Bang. Get it? That was good.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, Aaron was a little bit late on it. We didn't tell him about it though.
That's right.
But basically, we're all anime fans. We all work at IGN, and we would always bother each other, like in the break room, and be like, "What are you watching? Like, what's your favorite anime? Whatever." And we were basically like, we should just start talking about what we're watching, what we like about anime, favorite characters, all of this different stuff. So that's what Anime Bang is basically going to be. A bunch of random anime stuff. So for our first show, we kind of wanted to go through the winter season and talk about some of the big shows that are trending, the ones that have really caught our eye, some of the ones that have really turned us off as well. So I'll start off talking about Mob Psycho. So absolutely love this story. It's from the same creator as One Punch Man, and so the animation is super similar, but I like it better than One Punch Man.
Really?
Is that just me? What do you
That's
guys think?
interesting.
I like One Punch Man more, but
Yeah.
it took a while for Mob to grow on me. I watched the first season. I watched about half of the episodes. No, I watched the first 3 episodes. It was like, this is cool, but it's kind of dull. It's kind of
Yeah.
taking its time.
Yeah.
Then I got to episode 4 when he started finding the guy from the other school, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Here we go. No,
Yes.
I'm here for that.
The blonde kid.
Yeah, with the hair.
With the hair.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I love about this creator though is that he goes by One, right? Isn't that his like name?
Yeah.
But it's like he somehow incorporates like these really, really like heavy topics, but then can also be super comedic.
Yeah.
Because the protagonist in Mob Psycho, I mean, like he's really socially awkward, and you know, he kind of has these like painful, cringy moments. But then he's the hero sometimes, and he has these really inspiring moments too. And then there's just like his battle with that guy with the blonde hair, like his like. You know, his opponent seemed so cool and was awesome, and then he like shaved off the top of his head, and you're just like, oh my god. It's just like, what I love about this creator is just like how his animes have so many different tones. But I kind of want to hear more from you guys about why you think One Punch Man. Well, you said that. Which one do you like better?
Well, so for me, it's sort of like you picking between your 2 children, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can you love one more than the
Yeah,
other? Like,
yeah.
They're so totally different. But I will say what I do love and what I think they share is that they're able to flip from that comedic to that serious and back and forth so quickly. And the way that they do the facial animations when it goes from serious to like very plain and very humorous in a second. I just love that.
Okay, so he's being the diplomat here and
Sure,
saying
why not?
that
We gotta have-
he's like,
gotta
I
have a
can't
three,
pick
right?
one. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
The friggin' not detective, his boss, his
Reagan?
caretaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
He annoyed the hell out of me. Like
I love
Really?
that
Oh my god, I love him! Oh,
Like,
he's one of my favorites. Okay.
there was too much of him. Like,
Yeah.
he's good in small doses, but like, goddamn, I don't need an entire episode
Yeah.
about this dude just going like, oh yes, I'm doing a scam. Oh
He's a
yeah,
big
like
scammer.
this is good.
I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
love him.
I
I'm
love
not gonna
Dimple,
lie.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Dimple, oh my
Dimple
gosh.
Kills the
So for me, I think that I like Mob Psycho a little bit more because I think it just gets a little bit heavier. Like
Sure.
One Punch Man is, I mean, action 100% better. Mob Psycho has good action, but just One Punch Man with like the crazy monsters and all the animation, and then all of a sudden he just like ends up getting down with one punch. Like, but they still build up the action scenes like any of the great action animes, and like the animation's there 100%. So like One Punch Man definitely wins like in the action aspect. But for me, I just feel like Mob Psycho has more of the emotional beats. Like it hits them
More of a
more.
heart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the Body Improvement Club. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm like
Oh,
going
yeah.
off on a tangent here, but like I love them.
Yeah.
Like it's just like they take this boy who's obviously a little bit awkward and does not look like the rest of them. Like they're all
No.
like good looking and like beefy,
Yeah.
and they don't, but they never judge him. You never see them like looking down upon him. Like there's no moment like that, and they're so encouraging to him.
It's all about improvement.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, and
and
that's
that's his
exciting.
body
Of
improvement.
course,
Like
yes.
their overall, and so I really like that. But then also I think that there's
some really there's heaviness. Like
Sure.
one of the last episodes, I think it was like 2 ago, but it was when he was dealing with that girl who was possessed,
Sure.
and basically it was like they took away his psychic powers, and it was like torturous to watch,
Yeah,
like
that was rough.
how mean and bullied he was getting. I mean, or not how mean he was, how mean people were
Yeah,
to him, and
yeah.
how bullied he was. Like we don't see that in One Punch Man. You know what I mean? Like it hasn't had that. You read the manga, so that's different, okay? Like you're cheating, But
Yeah.
but on the other hand, I do think that One Punch Man, they're just different. Like one's a little bit heavier, one's a little
Yeah.
bit lighter. So why One Punch Man for you?
Just because I'm more engaged with it, because I am reading the manga.
Yeah.
Like after the first season, it was like, I want to see what happens next.
Yeah, you gotta see more.
So then just kept reading and reading and reading. It's like, oh, I'm really liking where this is going.
Yeah.
So I think it has that fair advantage of like, I'm like 100 something chapters
More
in
of it.
compared to Mob, where I'm only like at episode 15, 16.
So interesting, because the second season's going to be coming out soon,
Very
so
soon,
maybe it's
yeah.
going to be taking a much darker tone then.
Darker and lighter and more world building.
Nice.
Mm.
I like
But
that.
like by the time that season ends, it's still not even going to be to the halfway point where the manga is right now.
I'd love to see
Gosh.
more of those S-rated heroes, like that little OVA they had at the end of the first season. Loved that. When they
So
all
My
went to
Hero
the,
Academia,
yeah,
right?
It was
It
so
was
My Hero.
so
Academia.
My
It was
Hero,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely want to get to know those guys a little bit better.
Yeah, no, and then that's the other part about One Punch Man that's so great is like we're all in this like superheroes kick right now. Like
Yeah.
that's incredibly popular here in the United States. So I totally get that. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much about Mob Psycho. So to wrap it up, like I think it's one that people should really check out because one, it's created by one, and
Yeah.
he created One Punch Man, and I mean One Punch Man's awesome. I personally think Mob Psycho is right up there with it, if not better. And it just balances that comedy, but also has a lot of heaviness. And you know what I love about this guy is that he like somehow embeds moral lessons, but they're not like shoving them down your throat like Sailor Moon. You know how at the end of Sailor Moon they'd be like, "This is
Here's
your
the
lesson of the
lesson."
day."
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's little subtle things. Like I remember Saitama one episode ended, and he was like, "Oh, well, it's the end of the day, so I'm leaving the rest of my worries for tomorrow." And I'm just such like a high anxiety person, and I was like, "I need to do that." You know what I mean?
Drop
So,
it, like
so
that.
yeah,
That's a
so
good point.
that's our wrap on Mob Psycho. Sorry, I rambled a lot. Okay, so
No
what's your
worries.
pick?
All right, so I think mine for this week is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Okay, what is this about? So I haven't watched
Yeah.
this one at all, but the title alone, I'm like, what's happening
Honestly,
here?
the title turned me off when I first saw it. It
Yeah.
was one of my
Yeah.
friends who recommended it to me, and I was like, this sounds
Oh.
like trash,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
100%. Though I am a very big fan of this, I think it's a seemingly new genre of anime and manga where some person in the real world dies and then gets brought back to life in this fun fantasy
Yeah.
world or whatever, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Zero, Konosuba, even the
Mhm.
first season of Sword Art Online. Well, I mean, to an extent.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, just you being in that world, because
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Wouldn't that be so fun?
Well, it'd be cool, yeah. Like, I mean, I think for Sword Art and some of the other ones that you mentioned, it's just like it's cool to be taken out of this world and put somewhere else.
But
you know
still
what I mean?
be
Just,
you.
but still be
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So yeah.
Just
Okay.
that.
So wait, what is it about?
So essentially, the first episode opens with this guy. He's like 38, a virgin. They make sure to specify that. He's like a businessman.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
It's one of those. And he's walking down the street with some of his fellow coworkers when this random guy with a knife just comes up, stabs him, kills him.
Okay.
So he dies.
I think it's worth mentioning that
Yeah.
he saved the other guy
That's
from
true.
being stabbed.
That's
Yes.
true. Yes, he did.
Oh,
push.
He died in heroic.
Yes, it was very nice of him
Oh, okay,
to,
okay.
to sacrifice himself in that way.
So then what happens to him
And then,
next?
so as he's dying, he's like, "Oh, you know, like I wish I had done this. I wish I had done this." And all the while, there's this ethereal voice being like, "Okay, so you want that, so now you get this specific skill. Like, oh, you want this, so now you get this specific skill." So that when he's reincarnated in this fantasy world as the slime, he has all these OP powers.
He's reincarnated as a slime.
As a slime,
Yeah.
like you know, your basic Dragon Quest monster, like level 1, lose it.
And so
pretty much.
he's in sort of like a Dragon Quest-esque game, and he is like this slime
Sort of
low-level
that
villain.
type of world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone
Interesting,
sees a
okay.
slime and they're like, "Oh, it's a slime. Who
Yeah.
cares?"
Yeah.
But he's actually one of the strongest characters in the series.
It sounds bizarre,
It is crazy,
but it
it's
sounds
crazy.
fun. Okay.
Yeah, there's honestly a lot of really weird elements, but I found myself after the first episode being like, all right, that was pretty good. Let's check out the next one.
Yeah.
And then I think I started it when it was already like 8 episodes in, so I just binged right through those 8, and now I'm sort of episodic weekly.
So what hooked you then? Like, why were you like, okay, I'm gonna come back? Because you said that you were
Yeah.
intrigued and you wanted to keep on watching.
Right. I mean, I think it's the world they live in. They set up all of these low-level monsters like goblins and like what they call dire wolves as, you know, like pretty basic things. And it's through this slime, this Rimuru, that he's able to wrangle them all together and create this nice little community. And it's fun watching that community grow and seeing how it interacts with the world around them and just exploring that world. I think it's been a lot
Oh,
of fun.
that actually attracts me to it because I love RPGs. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And so
it's exactly
to
like that.
see just kind of like what the low level RPG monsters would like do if they could interact. Which who is this guy? Like who would think to do that?
It's a great question.
Right? I mean, like that is a really. I wonder he must have been playing like an RPG and was like, "Yo, I'm
Oh,
gonna
this would be cool.
We'll Google
Yeah.
it. We'll find that
Yeah.
out for our next episode." So, okay, I'm into it.
Yeah.
What about you?
All right. So one of the shows I have is Magical Girl Spec Ops.
Uh-huh.
It is a weird show, but
It
like
sounds
good.
weird.
Yeah.
Like the title, like you guys both picked
Right,
weird
yeah, totally
titles.
was.
I tend to
Sounds
like
like
shows that are
nice.
like a little bit like offbeat. Like
Yeah.
most of the shows I watch are like really popular ones, or things from the No Automata block, or just okay, that was a concept someone came up with. Okay,
Yeah.
This show does something very interesting, like similar to how Madoka Magica took the Magical Girl trope and made it very dark.
Mm-hmm.
This one does something similar to the show Gate, if you watched
Yes.
that from a couple years ago, where basically they take the Magical Girl concept and kind of put it in the real world. So in this universe, Magical Girls, some monsters from another dimension came, started attacking people. Then some people from another dimension wanted to help out because they saw them as a common enemy and gave select girls magical powers, of course, and
As
they
one
became
does.
magical girls. But instead of just having to be like, oh, these magical girls fight to save the day, they learn friendship, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It turns out that they're part of the government military, the international military forces, and are brought into the military and used to resolve the issue. They end up fighting to save the monster, defeat the big monsters, all that stuff. But they start out with 9 magical girls. 4 of them die in the war.
Yikes. Against the monsters?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but
right.
I mean, maybe that happens pretty early
This
on.
happens
Yeah.
all like in the first 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 9 magical girls.
They're gone.
4 of them have died before the final battle. They complete the final battle, and now we're catching up to the main character 3 years later after the world has been saved. Trying
Do
to
they
adapt
still
to
have
the
their
life.
powers?
They still have their powers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
This sounds heavy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's heavy-ish, not super duper heavy, but
Right.
like it takes a serious look at okay, oh yeah, I was straight up killing things for like years, for a couple of years, and now I'm trying to have a normal life again. And now the main character at this point, she's going to a high school. She's the new exchange student, of course, and like some other girls will see her like, oh, she's pretty, she's mysterious, and the main character's just trying to go through get past her PTSD,
Sure.
learn how to socialize with people again, and
And still has her powers.
she still has her powers, and is trying to stop the military from trying to bring her back in.
This is
Those are some pretty serious topics.
so.
Yeah.
What intrigues me about this one is that it's dealing with her trying to break away from all of it. You know what I mean? Like it's like I
Yeah,
feel
she's
like we've
taking a
seen
step back.
magical girl shows where they're in the heat of it. You know what I mean? Or like trying to be all about it.
Yeah.
It's giving me some Violet Evergarden vibes.
So
No,
not that serious.
not that serious.
Because there's light fan service already.
Okay,
Her costume,
okay.
Yeah.
Like her,
That makes sense.
like her magical girl costume's like, oh yeah, she has a lot of chest.
Well,
And
it's an
Anime, yeah, it's just like
that is.
okay.
Yeah, and you can already tell that, just based off the first 2 or 3 episodes, you already know that she's going to be right back into fighting again.
Yeah.
But they at least show why she got out and what her motivations are, and Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's very early on in the show. They only have about 5 episodes. I watched the first 3, and it hooked me because, like, oh, okay, magical girls, but it's different. It's violent. Like, and this show's really violent. Like, in just the opening battle stuff, you see, like, people getting their arms cut off. Like,
Oh,
Shit.
the magical girl
dang.
is, like, slashing dudes, like, in, like, tiny pieces and everything. And, like, yes, super violent.
Okay, I'm in.
I do like when they go
Yeah,
all in.
no, I love good action.
Yeah.
So like if it's got an end kind of like gory, not too gory, but you know what I mean. Like I'm in.
But yeah, we'll see how it gets any more depth or like an interesting premise. But like the initial hook was like, okay, I like what you're doing here. You're taking this, common concept and turning it on its head.
You know what might be interesting for us to point out about each anime we're watching too? Like, is it hard to jump on? I mean, like, are we talking
Yeah.
about, Dragon Ball here, where you're
Yeah,
gonna have to
yeah.
watch hundreds of
Yeah.
episodes or something? Like
Before you
Mob
think
Psycho,
about
I
it.
think it's like not even 20 now because they had their first season.
Yeah, it's 12 per season,
Yeah,
I think,
so it's
right?
like got to be like 15. So
But
easy to catch up on mine. Yours is pretty new, right? Is it brand new?
It started in the fall season, so
Okay.
It honestly hasn't been too many. I think we're probably on episode like 14 or 15.
So that's easy to catch up on. What about yours?
Yeah, mine just started in the winter season, so you can hop right into it. The only thing with being familiar with magical girl tropes, that if you're watching anime, you at least know the name Sailor Moon, so it's
Yes.
a little
You
bit.
can pretty
Yeah.
much
You can hop right in.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm into the 3 that
Yeah.
we've talked about so far. So my second one that I'm going to talk about, and I mean, I feel like everybody is talking about this anime, is The Promised Neverland.
Sure.
And if you haven't heard about it, I like get out from under the rock that you're living in, apparently. But so it's about these kids who live kind of like an orphanage or something like that.
Idyllic home, yeah.
Yeah, and they all seem really happy, and it's like a ton of kids. It's got to be like 20 or something, and they're all like different ages, like from I'm gonna say like it seems to be like 5 to like 13, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the age group?
I
Something
think
like
it's
that.
11 downward.
Is it
'Cause there are
11?
some
Okay.
babies, for sure.
Okay, babies. There's,
I know.
I don't remember the
There's
babies.
a baby or two.
There was a baby.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't watched it? Okay. Well, I missed the baby, but I remember that there's like really young kids essentially.
Okay.
So it's just like a mix of kids, and everything seems really cool. And it centers around like 3 of the older kids. I think they're 11, right?
Yes.
The 3. Okay, so they're 11, and they're, you know what I mean, like kind of like the leaders of the group. You have like one really really smart guy, you have like the athletic girl who's like super bubbly, and then you have like the dark mysterious brooding guy who is like strategic. Is that
Right,
a good
pretty
description?
much,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So you're like, cool, like these kids are probably going to take care of this family. I honestly was like, this doesn't seem like my cup of tea. This is weird. And then like it gets real,
Yeah, at the end of that first
real
episode.
fast. You like, so kids get adopted. It's an
Yeah.
orphanage, right? And one of the girls who gets adopted like forgot her toy, and so the athletic girl's like, oh, to the smart guy, like, we gotta go give her toy, so they go to like give her toy before she leaves, and they find out that like she's dead and being eaten by monsters, and essentially like they're being farmed for
They're
monsters.
cattle.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has no reaction. I was like, what? Like when I was like watching. So now we're like, it's the 5th or 6th. I think the 6th episode came out today,
Yes, I
actually.
think
So
that's true.
I need to watch it. But this is unlike any show I have ever seen before. Which is why I'm not saying it's the best show I've ever seen, but I've never seen this concept before. Like it doesn't
Okay.
remind me of anything
Yeah.
I've seen before. Because like One Punch Man, like we're like My Hero Academia,
Right, yeah.
superhero stuff, like. Even like Mob Psycho, it's like, okay, we're just focusing on the high school kid, and he's kind of like lonely and weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like stuff we've kind of seen before, but I'm like, an orphanage where these kids are getting like eaten by monsters and they want to escape. And then they have like this creepy like robot mom. I don't even know if she's a robot or monster or
Yeah.
whatever. And who has always seemed super kind, but like now she's watching them. They're planning an escape. There's the like idea of death looming over them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just like all this stuff that comes into play. And then they recently introduced like another nanny or mother character. I think she's like not considered a mother.
Yeah,
she's
like
like
a sub.
yeah, that she's
Older
not
sister
like
or whatever.
yeah, something like that. And she's also really powerful. So
Yeah.
for me, it was just kind of like what got me into this show was like, I was like, I have never seen anything like this before. They also do a really good job of ending on a really good cliffhanger
Oh,
every episode. Like,
So annoying.
literally, it'll be like, but what about this? And then it'll be like, well, actually, I found this out about you. And then they're like, or then it's like, the door's opening.
Yeah.
Who's behind the door? And you're just like, I just can't wait. Like, you know what I mean? You intrigued?
I'm intrigued. This reminded me of another show that came out
Yeah.
a few years ago called Shinsekai Yori
Okay.
from the New World.
Mm-hmm.
That one, not quite the same premises, but something involving children growing up in a effed up world,
Yeah.
and like secrets and like things are not what they seem, like
Yeah.
all leading up to this like conclusion that I did not see coming from
Ooh,
episode
well,
one.
maybe I should check out that one for comparison. But yeah, I mean, you should start watching.
Oh, yeah.
You've
I played
been
Is that the one with vampires?
This is the one.
Because there is one that I'm
This-
now
this is
remembering.
a-
So
This is a
I say that
vampire,
there's
but-
no anime like
Mole-
this one, and then you guys are like, "What's
Well,
actually
no,
like
no,
these
no,
Mole,
two?"
mole rats play a factor in the one I'm thinking of.
Mole
Rats?
rats.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of something
Okay.
else.
Okay.
This one
That's
is-
curious though.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah. So now we have a couple more to check out.
Yes.
What has made you like The Promised Neverland? Why do you think it's so popular?
Well, like you, I had heard about it before I started watching it, and I think what immediately drew me in was the animation quality. I was like, wow, this looks
Beautiful,
great. And usually
yeah.
if the animation's great, the storyline, they put
Yeah.
a lot of effort behind it. It's
Yeah.
not just a throwaway anime like so
Yeah.
many that come out.
So
with
funny
movies.
how important animation comes
Mm-hmm.
into play. Like, I think people are like, oh, well, I mean, that's not that important. Berserk, like, one of
There
my
you go.
favorite stories of
Yeah.
all freaking time. Like, I was like addicted to the manga, addicted to the story. I was a part of a freaking website in the early 2000s
Like a
called
forum?
theblackswordsman.org,
Oh,
if
that's
that's around still. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was like literally like 20 of us, and we would like go on seriously bizarre tangents about like Griffith and Guts and Casca, everything. We were insane. But anyways, I digress. But was so amped when they came out with the new Berserk,
Yeah.
and it followed the manga pretty well, but it was like the animation was excruciating.
Such
It was a
nice
choice.
story. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It was excruciating.
A
So
cost-saving measure, I'm sure. But.
yeah, yes, and we were actually discussing this
Yeah.
recently, just about like, okay, we understand like it saves money, but I mean that really can make or break an anime. So as you were saying, The Promised Neverland,
Yeah.
like that's definitely a reason why people are on board. Sorry, we all know I talk too much. Sorry. Violet Evergarden, really
Beautiful
not a
animation.
fan of the
Yeah.
first few episodes,
Yeah.
but I could not stop watching it because it was just so
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. So
Yeah.
you were a fan of the animation.
No, yeah, I mean the animation is what immediately drew me in, and even before the twist at the end of the first episode revealed itself, like I had an inkling that something was going on because you can't set up like such a happy, idyllic
Yes.
home without something that's gonna go
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
And then I just remember that shift when they found out like, oh, there are monsters, like, oh, Connie's dead, this girl.
Yeah.
Not
Not dead. Like
Well,
being
she was like in a
eaten.
suit.
No, not just dead.
Yeah.
Like she was being eaten.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
like
It was a
it
little
was
excessive.
it wasn't like, oh wow, she died. Like
Yeah.
it was like, oh
Yeah, like there's the
What?
corpse, there's
Yes.
the monster.
yeah. Sorry, I
That's
was
gonna
just
happen to
playing
me.
it up.
Yeah.
This is pretty dramatic.
Yeah. Well, no, and I mean, I think what's really kept me going is this intrigue of like, oh, is there a spy that's working for the mom? Like, oh, like what is going on in this world outside of this? Are all humans either, moms who raise humans to be eaten, or are they, just cattle to be eaten later? Like, what's going on in this world? And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
That is so interesting.
What's outside of this home?
What that is another thing that's kept me hooked too, is that I'm just kind of like, okay, well, like what is this world? Like I just want to understand more about the world, and that's when you fall in love with an anime's world. I mean, that's
I'll tell you
like
what.
all I can think about is him in Dragon Ball. Like this mofo is in love with like the Dragon Ball franchise so much, and it's just like when you find a world that you're in love with, like. So it's like I'm intrigued by the world. I don't know if I'll fall in love with the world, but it's like I'm definitely like, what's coming?
What's coming next?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So okay, we talked a lot about The Promised Neverland. Tell me what's going on with your second choice. What do you think?
So the second one's called Dororo, or Dororo, I'm not sure how exactly you pronounce it, but it's
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime Video, which kind of caught me off guard because typically I'll go to Crunchyroll for my animes.
Yeah.
Sometimes Netflix when they've got a good original series, but Amazon's not one that I ever think about.
Mhm.
But it turns out that we've got a pretty extensive collection
Yeah.
on there. So just FYI. Not an ad for Amazon, by the way.
Watch Banana Fish.
Yeah.
Sponsored by? No, we're not
Yeah,
really.
pretty
We have no
much.
sponsor.
Not yet, anyway.
This is on my iPhone, like in the distance.
Um,
Anyways, okay, so
yes,
what's it about?
okay, so essentially, it's a story that I think has been played out a couple times before, but it's the first time I've seen it in an anime form. There's this baby that's born without any eyes, nose, mouth, limbs, like completely skinless, essentially, and that's because his father, who is a local lord, made a deal with a collection of demons. Who said, take whatever you want from me, but make my land prosperous.
Mhm.
And so what they took is everything from his firstborn son. And the dad, as it turns out, huge dick, is like, great, this is perfect. Like, fuck that kid. Like, let's send him on a boat
Yeah.
anyway. He's pretty much dead anyway.
Yeah.
And now my land's gonna be prosperous. Kid did not die.
Yeah.
Was found and raised by this prosthetics maker, which worked himself out considering he didn't have anything to move around with
Yeah.
or whatever. And so essentially he like trains in the art of the blade. He's got like these cool sword arms, like sword legs, and as he's going around this country of Japan, he's fighting against these yokai, these demons, and every time he kills one of them, he gets another part of his body back. And so the whole journey
Cool.
is him like going around with his compatriots, this blind priest who's also like a demon hunter kind of thing, and then this kid Dororo who's like a little scamp,
Yeah.
sort of the heart of the journey. And so yeah, he just goes along, he's fighting these demons, and every single time he does, he gets like his leg back, his arm back, he gets his voice back, his hearing back, his sight, etc., etc. And so I
This
think it's
is
ultimately,
heavy.
oh,
But,
it's
like,
very heavy
it
too. It's dark
sounds-
as well.
Is it so it's super dark?
It's very dark, yeah. It's very
we should have a
violent.
darkness scale, like
Right, yeah.
Neon
yeah.
Genesis Evangelion.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it doesn't
Or
quite
even
get there.
Elfen
Devilman
Lied.
Crybaby. Or
Yeah, Devilman
Elfen
Crybaby.
Lied is just like gratuitous
Yeah,
for
I
no reason.
Yeah.
We'll have to. We'll come up with a I don't know,
Yeah.
like a darkness
Oh,
darkness
what's
scale or
the
something like that. What are you googling over here?
Yeah, so I didn't realize
So
it was
this is
a
it. I guess
test
it is like an existing. Maybe this is a reboot of the franchise.
Oh,
Also,
interesting.
It's
Okay.
got one of the best anime openings I think of this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to do
Probably,
yeah.
an episode on
Openings
best
and endings,
openings.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will definitely have to do that. Yeah.
I know. What it is.
Okay, this sounds
But
so.
yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's
Interesting
a lot
to
of fun.
know it is a reboot then? Is that what
I
you
think
found
so.
out?
Yeah, so this is a Tezuka manga. Like, Osamu Tezuka is like basically the father of anime.
Mm.
He created Astro Boy and
Yeah,
all
it looked
that.
like Astro Boy, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so the art style.
It did look
makes
like
sense.
Astro Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm
Does it
guessing
look like
it's
that
in that
now or no?
No, it looks. I mean, there are kind of elements to it, but it's definitely not as cartoony. It's not as like lighthearted looking as
Yeah.
as just this image I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
But
And-
I feel like I remember seeing a Netflix, or at least a movie on Netflix that was a similar plot, where this guy was, his body parts were infested by demons
Mhm.
or whatever, and by defeating them, he got his real ones back.
Cool concept. I mean,
Very
like
cool.
I'm signed
Yeah,
up.
definitely
I
just-
definitely want to check that out. Is it easy to jump into, or does it have a lot of
100%. No, I think we're on episode 6.
Great. Okay, so that's
So-
another. And Promise Neverland's the same way.
Yeah.
So, okay, what is your second pick?
Mine kind of falls back to the RPG trope.
Okay.
Rising of the Shield Hero.
Mhm.
That one looks.
Yeah.
The name
And that same sort of thing
Rising
that you were
Shield
talking
Hero.
about.
Yeah.
So similar premise of like
Oh,
four guys are just transported into this magical world that's actually a parallel dimension. It turns out that each one of them is lauded a legendary 4 heroes. There's the sword hero, the lance hero, the bow hero, and the shield hero.
Love it.
Uh,
Already love it.
Sucks
I
that
love when
Shield
they
hero,
have
though,
weapon
right?
differentiation.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I'm like when it's a gang and they all have like a different
different
ability or something. I'm like, love it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so this starts out pretty atypical of that type of thing. We're like, oh, you're in a fantasy tale. The things that start to make it seem different is the fact that the shield hero is like treated like a low-caste citizen, apparently, and is not knowledgeable about the fantastical world that they're in. Apparently, the world that they're been transported to is like a video game world, and it's actually stated to be similar to a video game world that each of the other heroes have played before. The other heroes realize that they're all from different dimensions and different versions of Japan. So
Interesting.
Oh, so they're not from the same dimension, each of these heroes.
yeah, each hero's from a different version of Japan
curious.
too. So
Wow, that's adding a layer
Yeah,
for
that's-
sure. Yeah.
yeah, they haven't really explained how that plays a factor yet, but they realize they're all from different areas of Japan, and each one of them have played basically this RPG game they've been brought into, are familiar with it, except for the shield hero who's like,
Just trying to figure it
I
out.
did this.
I don't really play RPGs. I never heard of this.
Oh, that's
Oh.
probably funny as
That is
heck
funny.
then.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
pretty much it goes through like the usual setup of like, oh, here you're gonna be a soldier, you're gonna fight the evil forces, blah blah blah. But what makes this show different is leading up to all of that. After the hero starts his first quest, he gets accused of a crime that is very controversial. I will not say what it is. You guys need to watch and find out what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, he gets accused of a very, very bad crime and something that actually, kind of broke the fourth wall and became a topic of public debate in the anime community. But that thing basically completely changes the trajectory of this character, where now he's an outcast in society. People just like don't want to be in the same room with him, type thing. So he's already like, oh, I don't want to be with you because you're weak. Now it's like, oh, you're scum. You were worse than scum. I don't want to touch you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to be near my children type person.
Jeez.
Ooh.
So this character has to go through all of that while trying to save the world and can't even go back home until they basically save the world.
Yeah.
It's
That's
been
it.
interesting so far.
That's an interesting plot device, which Mob Psycho, I don't know if you guys remember, it had the part in it where the protagonist's brother befriended like the student council president, and the
Sure.
student council president was like manipulating people
Yeah.
by like spreading like really awful rumors about them. And then
Trying to
remember
get people framed,
they
that kind of
set
stuff.
up one of the like the tough like gang leader guy as
Yeah.
being a pervert, like
Right.
stealing like the girls like flute things.
Yeah.
I don't remember,
Sounds about
something
right.
like that.
They're reeds.
But
Yeah.
man, it was just like, oh, and that's another reason why I love that anime is that it just like it really makes you think about things from other people's perspectives, and you're just like, I was so cringing thinking about like this poor guy who's being like
Can you imagine?
painted as that, but then it's like you understand their perspective. Like if
Sure.
I was a girl and a guy was doing that, I'd be like,
Like that guy's
hell
weird.
are you
Yeah.
like that'd be so gnarly. So it's interesting that they use like a similar plot device
Yeah.
in this anime. Is the debate's gonna be like, is it just trying to get shock value out of it, or is
Yeah,
it like
that's a good point.
teaching people something? Is
Right.
there something to be learned? I don't really know the
Yeah.
case for this show, but for Mob Psycho, it was, and it really added a layer of evilness to the student body president. And also, like, that was also adding into the fall of the brother and all this stuff. But, interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, those are our picks. Did you guys want to talk about the ones that we hated? Or should we save it for the next
That's a good
show?
question. Yeah, I could talk about one that I didn't
Okay,
really like
because-
that much.
Okay.
Basically, we set up a list of like things that we need to watch. Man, I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so I have a few on my list. Which one should I pick? You pick it.
Oh, which one of
Yeah, I'm
yours
gonna
you
tell
don't
you.
like?
It's 2, 5, 2, 5, or 6. You pick.
Let's just start out with 2.
Okay, so 2,
It's Sword Art.
Sword Art Online. Alicization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like, okay, so I watched the first season
Sure.
and I
Did you
loved
like it?
it.
You loved it?
I loved it. I thought it was like, for me, it was like so cool
Yeah.
that they were like in this gaming world, a total rip of Ready Player One, like 100%.
Oh, rip of dot
Yeah.
hack.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so like it was a rip. And yeah, right. But then so like I was into it, and then it got into this. I believe the second season was when it had that like sister brother love thing going on.
That was the second half of season 1.
Yeah,
Was
that
it the second half of
it
season one?
was.
Okay.
That's when I sort of fell
That's
off.
when I
Like,
fell
this
off,
shit
too.
is weird.
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah.
Like, I was
in the
like-
elf world, yeah. I mean the fairy world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, all right, I think I'm good on this, which was a bummer because I was really into it. Like, I
Mhm.
really liked it. So, we all like divvied up animes or anime, sorry, my bad, that you're supposed to watch or that we wanted to like basically go through. And
Yep.
so Sword Art Alicization was the one that I picked. And so I tried to watch 2 episodes. And mind you, I didn't go all the way back. I was like, let me try to like pick this up at the end here. But the whole episode was this girl and this guy hanging off a wall. and just like yelling at each other the whole time, and then like these like enemies attacking them, and I was just like, I mean, I understand I'm jumping into this without
Yeah.
a lot of explanation, but I was just like, that was the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, like I'm jumping into this late, like let me watch like a second episode and like see what's going on here. And the last episode just seemed like really slow and excruciating as well. So
Yeah.
basically I'm just laughing because I'm just like, I have a really, I guess, tumultuous relationship with this anime where, and I'm just like, oh, so if you're watching, tell me in the comments below, like, where should I go back to? If this is really worth watching, tell me where to go back to, because I watched these last 2 episodes and I'm just like, this is just, it's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like you can jump into some animes. We've all done this. Someone's watching a show, a movie, you jump into it late, and you're just kind of like watching, and you get trapped in it because you're like, oh, well, this is engaging. I don't really know what's going on, but let me ask or let me Google. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I was just like, this is off the deep end for me. It was off the deep end. So,
Yeah.
Sword Art, Alicization.
Yeah.
That's my vote. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I gotta agree. Like,
Yeah.
Sword Art, season 1, the second half of season 1, like, oh god, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I watched the gun version, season 2. It's like, oh, okay, this should be good. Like,
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just couldn't do it anymore. I stopped paying attention to Sword Art.
Yeah.
But it seems like Japan agrees with me because they call anime fans who like garbage anime Kiritos.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's
Yes.
so funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
wow.
that. Yikes.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
it speaks volumes. So we probably won't be discussing that anime much on here. That was on my hate list. So, okay, what was on your bad list?
So I'll say that I only watched 1 episode of this,
Okay.
and it wasn't terrible, but like I'm just so far past like this level of quality for this genre that
Yeah.
I had a hard time doing it. It was Radiant.
Okay.
Radiant. So it's it centers around like a 14-year-old boy named Seth who's like an aspiring sorcerer, right? Who is, dreams of being the sorcerer, just that whole,
Yeah.
Naruto, Black Clover,
Yeah.
nonsense. We have lofty
That we love.
aspirations.
Long-running
Hate.
show.
Yeah.
And I love to hate, it's
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It keeps me coming back. But for some reason for this, I watched the first episode and I was like, I really don't need to see the rest of this because I already
Yeah.
get what it's going to be. So essentially, they live in this world where there are these monsters called Nemesis, which is another anime trope that I hate when they just like, here's the bad guy, and it's got an English word that means bad guy, and that's the bad guy.
That's very anime.
Right? It's so anime.
It's so anime, but
And
yeah.
so essentially, like, these sorcerers are people who have come in contact with Nemesis, but like lived to survive the tale and were somehow changed, for the better in order to use magic and whatever. And so now they go around fighting Nemesis, but they're still ostracized by like the townspeople and by the community because of like their differences and whatever. It's very Naruto, like him having the tailed beast with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. The
Yeah.
whole sounding, so
The Demon Within. So we've
Right,
seen it.
exactly.
So
We've
for
seen it
you,
before.
it was just like, this is
it's just the same old
just
thing.
a repeat.
And I'm sure for brand new anime fans who are like looking to get a jump in and are like, really loving Boruto and that sort
Yeah.
of age time frame,
Yeah.
I think they'll definitely appreciate
Funny
it.
you
But
say that
for me-
because, I've been watching anime since I was a little girl,
Yeah.
but probably when I was in college, it was like that kind of trope or like that theme was big. It
Yeah.
was like Naruto,
Sure.
Bleach
Bleach,
was
yeah.
out, remember? And it's like, I know, right? Like I just said Bleach and I like cringed a little bit.
See,
But
because I love Bleach, and it's like, well,
But
why?
I loved Bleach
Yeah.
in the
It's just
beginning,
because I
and
grew
then
up
it
with
was
it.
like filler crap, which is like kind of why I didn't like Sword Art Alicization, because I was like, oh, this has reached. We'll have to think of a name for it, but it was like Bleach crap,
Yeah.
Naruto
Yeah.
crap, like you know what I mean, where it was like,
Sure.
wow, this
Basic
is
shonen
like I
garbage.
don't exactly. So yeah, okay, so you were turned off by that. It was kind of what you've seen a lot. So what about you? What was your bad one?
So, ironically enough, it is Boruto.
Boruto.
Oh,
there we go.
Naruto!
I love it.
At present,
Boruto.
Boruto the anime is trash.
Yeah.
Boruto the manga, great.
Really?
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
The problem with the show is that everything feels like filler because it is filler.
Mm.
And it's structured in such a way where, like, it doesn't...
Golly, filler.
Like,
yeah.
even if had I not read the manga, I would still know these were filler episodes based on the way they're structured.
Yeah.
Like, I look back at original Naruto, and I look at how many episodes we're in now in Boruto and how many episodes we were in at Naruto at that point. A lot of shit happened in Naruto. But
really?
Like Boruto is up to like episodes 50, 60.
Sure.
By that time in Naruto, Sasuke already left the village. Like all of that stuff, like a lot of the major plot points had already happened at that
Shooting
point.
exams, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, Boruto hasn't even gotten to introducing.
Nostalgia, yeah.
Boruto hasn't even gotten to the point of introducing like one of the primary protagonists / antagonists of the storyline. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think the show can be good. Like the parts of the manga and the movie that they adapted were actually done really well. They added some nice depth to it. But as it is right now, Boruto's not worth watching until they get to the parts where they start doing the manga arc again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how people do with Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, where like they just kind of checked out for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
then came back and like, oh, okay, now it's actually something important. It's canon again.
Yeah.
Now I can watch this.
And nothing that happened in the previous episodes matters at all.
Yeah.
So this is my question: why is there so much bad filler in anime? Hire a decent writer to come up with a side adventure.
Something better, yeah.
Hire a better writer.
So it's,
I just don't get it.
it's weird because sometimes filler will have better animation
Yeah.
than the actual main arcs. But in terms of plotline, part of the reason it's so bad is because they can't move the needle at all.
Yeah.
So everything has to reset back to what
They
it was
they
before.
need it to be a safe zone. Like
Yeah.
it can't be too
Completely
dramatic.
standalone.
But like can't like.
Yeah.
So My Hero Academia, they came up with the movie was Two Heroes. And it was
Yes.
it was
It's a
canon.
standalone thing.
It was standalone.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand why so much filler is just like it slows it down or it's just complete nonsense. Like oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Dragon Ball was one of those filler.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Every once
goodness.
in a while, yeah.
Some of the like worst filler ever, but
There's a reason why Dragon Ball Z is like 500 episodes and Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Kai is like
Yeah, they
180.
really
but
cut that
but
down.
the
Thank God
heart
for
of
that.
Dragon Ball is like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like literally like if you watch Kai, which
Yeah.
he was like
Yeah.
he helped me rewatch Kai recently. He was like, okay, this is what you need to watch, and I couldn't stop watching it. Like it's absolutely exhilarating, but filler, man.
Yeah, Philly's bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so that was our first episode of
Yeah,
Anime
how
Bang.
fun.
Right.
Yay! I thought it was fun.
Yeah, this was good.
Yay! Okay.
Right.
Well, tell us what you thought about our good picks. If you're watching it, tell us what you thought about our bad picks. Maybe we're not
we're
right.
off. Hey,
Maybe you
I'd
want
love
to
to
disagree
be
with us. Let
convinced
us know. And yeah, we're gonna try to do this weekly. We're in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right, sweet. All right, Anime Bang.
Thanks,
Bye. I can't reach.